We bring the Selectmen's meeting to order for October 10th, 2013. First order of business, approve minutes from the previous meeting.
I make the motion, we accept the minutes as read.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as read. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Financials, before the warrants were paid, $128,743. Warrant of $45,074.42. Payroll warrant 9/26 of 1965.63. Warrant for 10/10, 7/23.53. Balance of $80,979.42. Old business, sign warrant for special town meeting.
Read it, please, and then that has to be posted.
Want me to read it out loud or just to myself?
Well, that's
Out loud would be nice.
only entirely up to you.
Town warrant, State of Maine, County of Washington. Greetings. In the name of the State of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town of Columbia Falls, qualified to vote in town affairs, to meet at the Columbia Falls Municipal Building at 7 o'clock in the evening of October 22nd, 2013, and act on the following articles to wit: to elect a moderator to preside at said meeting, Article 1. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to take $90,000 from excise tax and apply it to snow removal, salt, and sand.
Courtney is available for that night.
Snowplow bids, that's for plowing of town.
The schoolyards and things like that, and those are going to be put out, but I wanted okay from you guys to put those in the paper for 2 weeks. They'll have to go out. Could happen at any time.
Does that have to go up a bit if he wants to do it for the
He
same
doesn't want to do it for the same price.
Okay.
You guys can sign that so that you're posting it, please. I just need to go ahead to put those in the paper so we can put it out.
I make a motion, we put our snowplow bids out for town, not town roads, but town buildings.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded to put the town buildings, snowplow out for bid. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed.
So if we have put them out for 2 weeks, I don't have a November calendar, but open them at the first, there won't be time by the October meeting, but the first November meeting that we have, open them then. That, okay? Okay,
Soon as about.
right.
Right.
But there won't be time to get them out before the next meeting, so.
Next item, 150th Finance Report, table from 9/23/2013.
We have just been presented this statement. Have you had a chance to look it over, Nancy? So you don't know whether that agrees with you or not?
Well, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Pardon?
if I may.
Yes.
You will see that if you look at both, it does agree with the town's statement. There was a double entry on our report that we gave you the last time. So this does agree.
Would you repeat that, please, John? I didn't catch that.
You will see if you look at the town's report that this does agree in the amount that the balance the account balance of $5,359.94. We have made an error in a double entry. That has been corrected.
It does agree. It does agree.
Okay.
And so the committee would appreciate it if you would vote to approve.
If you subtract $60 from the total at the bottom, it will come out exactly to this.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Do you agree that now it is balanced? Then I make the motion we accept that as read.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the Columbia Falls 150th celebration report. All those in favor? All those opposed? 2 in favor, 1 opposed.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask why you oppose?
Well, I could have made a $60 correction to it at any time. I mean, this is why I'm opposed. I don't disagree with it, but
But you don't disagree, but you oppose.
that's right. I do.
Could we also ask that this be the report that goes in? You had voted previously to put the report of the 150th Committee in the annual town report next March. And could we ask you to vote tonight that it be this report marked as it is at the top, updated on 9/24 and presented to you on October 10th? I think it would be well to clarify that.
I think to do that, though, we would have to do something about the previous motion, because otherwise both reports would have been included. That's already been voted on, correct?
Well, you voted to put the
that-
final report of the, if you consider that final report was the one that we gave that night, then you would
That's
have
what we
to
voted on
rescind
it
that
as.
vote,
So
and
we've got to rescind that vote.
yes.
I'll make the motion we rescind that vote then.
I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded to rescind that vote on the previous final report. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed?
Now we need a motion to put this in.
That's right.
I'll make the motion then that we put this in their town report. The one that was just agreed upon.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded to include this updated 9/10,
Oh, 9/24.
updated 9/24/13 final report in the town warrant for town meeting. All those in favor? Two in favor, one opposed.
Could I also ask you a question related
Yes,
to this? Or I guess the question more appropriately goes to the treasurer. Has the check been sent to Gloria Hayden for as approved by you?
not at this time, it's gonna
It's
go
on
out. It's on this warrant.
You approved it on October 10th, and it wasn't put on a warrant until now?
You approved it at the last meeting. This is the first warrant we've had since the last meeting.
The last meeting was not October 10th.
Today is October 10th.
I meant September. The meeting in September, your first meeting in September, you approved a check to Gloria Haywood in the amount of the profit shown for the quote.
775.
So I guess I inquired about it at the office last week
It's on this warrant right here.
or so, and was told that it had to be, that the treasurer needed something from you folks, which I agree, but I don't know why it was let go so long with one meeting elapsed before it got on the warrant.
I don't know either, but it's on tonight's warrant.
But, so it actually will be sent to her then.
Yes. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Other old business?
Yes, I do. Looking back to the conclusion of the Max town meeting and the recommendations from our accountant, this has been weighing on my mind. And then after the last Selectmen's meeting, I left here terribly exasperated about $60. So I took it upon myself the next morning to call our accountant, James Wadman. And I explained the dilemma that we're in, and I think I hear from you, Alan, that we're still in a dilemma. And I asked him if he could come to our October 28th Selectmen's meeting to deal with that, and he said he gladly would. And I also ran something else by him. His recommendations back in April. We recommend that the Board of Selectmen perform a review of the financial transactions on a consistent basis. We also recommend that monthly financial reports and bank statement reconciliations be reviewed by the Board of Selectmen to identify financial fluctuations. Checking accounts should also be reconciled on a monthly basis. Now, all I've received is the ledger. I've never dealt with any of the rest.
Because you've never asked for it. You asked for the ledger.
No, no,
and
I
I've
didn't
given
ask
you
for the
copies.
ledger, that's what I received. I never asked for a ledger.
You asked for the ledger before we
No, no,
even met.
no, no. I'll dispute that. I did not. I asked for what the accountant recommended. Would you like to read this?
No, I've seen it.
Okay.
But I know what I was
Then
asked for, because back in the 70s, you received a copy every month of a general ledger.
All right,
So
then
I
I'm going to
started
make the
giving you a
motion
copy
now
every month.
that we
Anything
have
is available.
Mr. Watman come to our October 28th meeting and maybe point out, I'm wondering, Nancy, why are you addressing this? Why isn't it our treasurer? Does our treasurer know what she's supposed to be doing? Maybe I should ask you, Lynn.
Evidently not.
You're not familiar with this statement?
I've read it.
You've read it.
Traditionally, and Muriel
It's a
did the same.
recommendation, it wasn't an order.
And right, the auditor can recommend it. The selectmen have to give the direction to do it. He only recommended.
And I'm the one that asked on a monthly basis.
But
And
traditionally,
all I
the
received was a ledger.
administrative assistant balances the general ledger. The treasurer does the checkbook, the treasurer pays the checks. But traditionally, our administrative assistant has balanced the general ledger because that's the person who puts in the most time and has more time, is one of the reasons I'm assuming. It's also a check and balances. From a treasurer, you have somebody looking over everything that the treasurer has done. If the treasurer is responsible for it all, you have no check and balance. Well, you have the selectmen as another check and balance.
And that was the intent. The selectmen were going to be a check and balance on a monthly basis. Now, we're more than 6 months past that date. And I haven't seen anything, have you? Have you, Alan?
You've not brought it up before now. Those are available at any point in time. And I can copy Tuesday morning. Anything that you request you want can be copied and ready for you.
But it said it should be reviewed by the Board of Selectmen, not by me, not by Jay, not by Alan, but by the board.
But why is that our fault?
Because
That's not our fault. That's the selectmen's responsibility, not ours.
well, how are we going to review it if we don't get it?
What is it you would like? Why don't you tell us what you want?
There you go, read the very top paragraph.
I'm not going to read it. I want you to tell
Okay.
this board what you want.
I want the selectmen to review the financial transactions on a consistent basis. They recommended that monthly financial reports and bank statement reconciliations be reviewed by the Board of Selectmen, as well as a reconciliation of the checking account.
Now, at the last meeting, you accused me of not giving you this general ledger.
No, I
Yes.
wasn't asking for the general ledger. That's what you came up with.
No, you asked me and you said you'd not received it, and I had copied it every month except for August. And there's a copy of it in the front of your book at
I know.
this time.
Here it is, right here.
And I
But-
gave you, after that meeting, there was one in your box of the one that hadn't been.
Yeah, the
And
ledger.
you never had mentioned, how come I'm not getting this? All you have to do is tell me. I can't read minds. So all you
Okay.
have to do is tell me what
Then-
you want me to do, and I will have it done.
Then I, as an individual, have to ask you, and then I have to get the Board of Selectmen together to review this? I have to do
Well,
that?
it has to be reviewed in a public meeting.
Do you want those?
I think we ought to do what's right.
Why can't we make a motion and
Right, that's what I'm
get
getting
it
at.
done once a month?
Okay, go ahead. You make it?
I'll make a motion that we get this information once a month.
Now, is it going to be done, are we going to actually read this stuff in the meeting and the three of us talk about it? Or is it going to be presented to the three of us and we look it over? Are we making motions on this?
Review it.
What's the purpose of this?
Am I hearing you, Alan, say that you don't want to take the time to
No,
do
no,
that?
no, 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 I'm just asking. just so that we know what we're supposed to do. In the meeting, is I guess is what I'm asking. Are we gonna sit here and read it, the three of us, discuss it, vote on it? What are we gonna,
I guess-
Review it, and then if somebody has an issue with it, then bring it up.
Okay, all right, that's all I'm asking, is what we're doing. So for the next meeting, we'll know exactly what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Okay,
I'll
I have
second
no
that.
problem with that.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded, whatever Bun said. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed.
But if we're going to do things the right way, then we wouldn't invite Mr. Wadman at an expense to the town without approval from the 3 selectmen.
That's right. And I asked him if he was available, and I told him that I would check tonight with the selectmen to see if that was the wish. I made the motion that we do that. Nobody seconded it.
I guess I didn't hear the motion, but...
My motion was that there's still a question in your mind as to whether this truly does balance, and there's a question in my mind as to whether the treasurer and our administrative assistant knows what we're supposed to receive.
So what's the motion?
The motion was that we invite James Wadman, our accountant, to the October 28th meeting to clarify these issues.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to invite our accountant, James Wadman, to the October 28th meeting at 7 o'clock in the evening. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed.
Then I have permission to call him back, and,
Yes.
okay.
Any other old business?
Mr. Chairman, could I just inject one thing, if you mind? In the letter from your accountant that you received in the month of March that Mr. Ward is referring to, after each of his recommendations, he says that the response from management was that management concurs with these recommendations. Management is the town office staff, the treasurer, the town clerk, the administrative assistant. That is the management as it's generally defined, you people. And so, if it was agreed to, I don't know why it wasn't furnished to you. I guess that's my question, and maybe that
I
can be
don't
answered.
know is that we ever discussed that letter in this meeting, or in any meeting. It might have been agreed to, but
All I have to do is be asked to do something. That's all I have to do. I don't need it in a letter, in something highlighted and brought into me. I don't need to be insulted in front of people, my intelligence or my cooperation. I just need to be asked. I was asked for a general ledger. That's what I've provided. If you would like the balance, the bank statements, then they will be made available as well. I will do whatever I am asked to do.
And never ever, to my knowledge, have anything been kept secret, but never have the selectmen ever asked to see the bank statements or anything like that.
What are you
They're there,
looking
they're
for?
available, they're reconciled every month.
What do you mean, what are you looking for?
Well, I mean,
Why do you have to be looking for something?
well, why do
I
you
don't
want to see
understand.
that report? You've got to be looking for something.
Oh, yeah.
well, I think it's up to us to be looking at those things.
You just tell me what you want from them,
Right.
they will be made available.
That's
Any other old business?
Such a waste of money.
Oh, yes,
Don't believe it.
about, Worcester Reef, the bathroom issue. Karen told me that Laurel said if possible, he'd like to fix one toilet, one sink, and get rid of the rest of it and use it for storage. So I said I'll bring it up and pass it along.
Huntley's was called to come fix what needed to be fixed plumbing. They came, he was here for a very short period of time and said he'd be back. I've not seen him. According to our lease agreement, if they want any changes done in their end of the building that better suits them, it's their, according to the lease agreement, they take that upon themselves. So where you want to go with that is up to you as well.
She just said
But
that to me.
I have called Huntley's and he was here and he didn't fix anything and I've not seen him back. But
Mr. Chairman, can I ask what the status is of this building? Are we in limbo?
No, we still own it.
I know we still own it. Where is it in regards to Reeser Trachtenberg?
We still own it.
Are you taking any further action towards it?
We're waiting for mechanical services to give us an estimate on the heating, and Mr. Poirier for an estimate on the roof.
Am I right that the, Karen told the committee that she was backing off?
That she was, what?
Backing off from what she wanted to do?
She told me the other day that
No.
she was, you know,
She's what?
still open for conversation.
she wouldn't be taking any steps because she doesn't have time right now.
Right.
So she would not be the aggressor in the situation. Mechanical services has been called and they are supposed to be, again, I can call these people and they can tell me things, but I can't make them come.
Have you not called them twice?
I've called them twice.
I guess I do have other old business, after you mentioned the lease agreement. We still have the situation dealing with fuel adjustment. We never have acted on that, so we've never addressed it since I've been on the board. We're going to continue to just ignore that?
No, you want to make a motion that we don't? I mean, that's up to you.
Why are we ignoring it?
Don't know.
You're just waiting for me to make the motion?
Sure.
Then they may push and ask us to do the driveway. I mean, there's going to be, they've kind of let things go and not pushed us. And I think it's kind of been a mutual thing, so
Then you did agree that we'd put a driveway on this southern end of the building?
it's in the lease agreement that if
Yeah.
within 90 days of the decision that the right-of-way wasn't approved, that the town would put a new access in on the other side of the building.
Within 90 days?
I believe it was within 90 days.
Would it be possible to see that lease?
Sure.
Why didn't we follow through, Al? Because you were waiting for me to come aboard and make a motion?
No.
Can I say something?
You just never got done.
Bon? There was a recommendation from a contractor, I recall, that didn't think that was a good idea.
Who did?
I don't remember who it was.
Yes, I do.
Oh. There was someone that didn't really think that was a good idea to put one on
I believe
that
it
side
was
of the
Stan
building.
Frost Construction, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, okay.
because of the, if you're familiar with that wall out there, it comes up right under the windows.
It's the foundation
window
wall.
you can see there. And there's no knowing where it, how
90
deep it is.
days. If the rocks haven't been removed, then the town will put another driveway in on that side.
But that was done without any advice from a contractor. That was done by people like me and you.
Okay, it says the parties acknowledge that there is some uncertainty regarding access to the rear of the building, and thus access to the demised premises over a right-of-way easement held by the town. There are presently large stones that have been placed in the right-of-way easement that make it difficult to drive vehicles over the right-of-way easement. At the inception of the lease, outside access to the rear of the building shall be via that route. If 90 days after commencement of the lease, the stones have not been removed, the town, at its expense, will provide alternate access to the demised premises via a driveway from the other side of the building.
I think we compromised at that time, and Stan Foss recommended we put it out here even though it was across the tank, if you
I believe that's
remember
right.
the Selectmen's meeting.
And
That's what I
Greens Across
remember.
America agreed with that
That's
at that
correct.
time.
So that's why we didn't go out there, we agreed to
Okay,
that,
that's
so
right.
they have access.
That's right.
And he did the work.
Yeah.
And of course, that isn't a good situation either.
No, but it was a better situation than going out there. Going over the tank would only ruin the tank, it wouldn't ruin the wall of the building, I believe is what was discussed.
Except that I don't think it's going over the tank, right? It's going over the line from the
Well,
tank.
Right.
Close to the tank and
Yeah,
going
close
over
to
the
the
line.
tank, Yeah.
Well, of course, there's an error in the lease where it says that the rocks have been placed across the right of way. They were not, they never were. But the right of way is available.
I'm not going to make that motion now, but I'm going to suggest that if and when the town makes a decision, and if they decide to keep this building, then I think at that point, we should do one of two things. One, we should immediately start assessing that rebate. Secondly, maybe we should even look into the legality of going back to the beginning and having that assessed. That's just a suggestion, something for us to think about.
That's like the auditor's suggestion.
Pardon?
That's like the auditor's suggestion.
But I hope we give more credibility to the audit.
So, when the decision is made on this building, then we'll address these issues again.
Right.
Any other old business?
I have all those financial things available. Do you want to start looking at those tonight? I can go get every bank statement and all that kind of thing. Well, we don't want Mr. Ward to go home. He fretted over $60, so we don't want him to fret for another 2 weeks.
I didn't lose too much weight since the last Selectmen's meeting, so I think I'll survive. Thank you.
Any other old business? We'll move on to new business. Is there any new business?
I do have, and I had forgotten to put on there was a bank representative here yesterday. Some of the bank information still was in Muriel's name, and she came and wanted to update. The treasurer was the same, but wanted to update from Muriel to me, and she just asked that that be brought up at a Selectmen's meeting so that it would be in the minutes, that everything had been made current. They hadn't been on top of all of their records, and so now everything is current. So just so that it's been brought to your attention.
Do we need to vote on it, or?
It just needed to be brought to your attention, is all she said.
And all the things are in
Right.
the proper names.
Right.
All of the accounts have the current treasurer and, okay. Did the $6,000 get put into a separate savings account?
It's been deposited. It's not in the account as of this moment, but it has been deposited, so it will be put into a savings account.
Any other new business? Okay. Officials and committees, there are none.
Uh,
I do have a document for your signature,
Okay,
for the forestry vehicle.
all right.
Do you want to do that now, or just
Yep.
wait till This is from Courtney. We finally got the right paperwork. This is the actual agreement, and I filled out the pertinent information. And this is the signature here for the town to do, and then their forester, and then their district ranger fills out the rest. This is and this is something they'll fill out, but I just put down some things for him. This is a scoring sheet that they use to determine